Hi, I'm Dan.
I'm Brett.
And this is the episode 5 husband debate. We're picking our top moments, arguing about characters' motives, and unfortunately revealing what parts of these two remind us of us.
And each other, maybe.
Maybe, baby. A little quick disclaimer at the top. We have not read the books. We are simply reacting to the show. And if that's not something you're looking for, feel free to go find something else to watch.
Come back after we've read the books.
Because we intend to do so. But wanted to finish this out show only, focusing on Jacob, Huddy, Connie, baby.
Corey, as I called him earlier today.
All right, so today we are going to be discussing episode 5, which is entitled, I'll Believe in Anything. In the prior episode, Rose, we ended with the club scene, which was...
Not your favorite.
No, definitely not. And the last shot we saw, or one of the last shots we saw, the last shots were actually them climaxing in different ways. But the club scene where they're just like standing, staring at one another was quite the cliffhanger. And so that was where we left off going into this wonderful episode.
And actually, did they both climax? Because as in the beginning of episode 5, Shane apologizes to Rose about the night before.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but good point. We both have rewatched to kind of refresh our memory on the episode. We cover a lot of emotional ground in 55 minutes. So...
It'll take us a lot longer than 55 minutes.
The episode is 55 minutes.
I know, I'm saying it's going to take us a lot longer than 55 minutes too.
But just from memory, let's earmark what was your favorite scene in this episode?
Oh man, but they go hand in hand. Of Rose and Shane when she's kind of delicately guiding
him out of the closet.
Yeah. For people that are fortunate enough to have someone in their lives like that, that's an incredible ally and someone probably the first time to feel safe speaking your real truth to. But I also was the playful kind of scene with Ilya and Svetlana and different approaches and how they kind of are coming to where they're really at and who each of these men really are. So off memory, that is probably they're well done. The scenes are well done, and they're really important setups for just how comfortable they can really, Shane and Ilya can really feel
with their counterparts.
Yeah.
There are two major moments in the episode, the monologue and the kiss on the ice. But beyond that, I think for me, actually, especially in rewatching and slowing everything down and zooming in 100 times, was actually the first time that we see Shane and Ilya at the bar in Tampa. Because Shane has been doing a lot of the heavy micro expression acting for a majority of these episodes. And I think there was a very obvious choice by Jacob to let us understand Ilya differently in that scene. And that was probably one of my faves. In terms of your least favorite moment in this episode.
I didn't get prepped on these questions. I'm trying to think.
I can go first if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
When Ilya doesn't beat the living shit out of Alexei.
That's
when
your
he
least
holds
favorite?
back, that's my least favorite. Yeah. I mean, mainly I just wanted him to do it. The other is the 30 seconds from when they're smiling at each other on the ice. Shane gets hit and he's on the stretcher. From an emotional turmoil perspective.
I don't know that I really have a least favorite.
Okay, Mr. Sunshine.
This is a great episode.
And then last question before we dive in is what was one question you were left with at the end of this episode?
Yeah, I guess one of the questions that I had was where are Rose and Svetlana going to fit in, if at all, as kind of maybe to help them navigate their own relationship. And I don't, or if that was just kind of its own thing, right? I guess as not knowing what happens in episode 6, I'm trying to put myself back in that position.
Yeah. How did these pivotal moments with the two of them?
Yeah.
What does that look like if and when we get
right
the boys
yeah
getting their shit together?
Yeah.
The main one for me, which was unanswered and I think remains to be unanswered, that again, you have rewatched it. I've gone and done like this 8-hour deep dive. So I'm digging into like the little things. But as we'll see in that first segment, Svetlana is like, hey, since when did you start smoking again? And my biggest question is, had he quit because of Shane to a point that it was noticeable for Svetlana? And
Kind of
then
seems like it, right?
And then they break up. And is it you're just going back to your old ways, or is this meant to be like you're stressed about going to the All-Stars game? That was my main question that is yet to be answered in the comments.
Okay.
All right. So then we're going to dive in. I've broken it out into chapters. I've combined a couple from my deep dive because this video hopefully will not be 85 hours long. But
no promises.
We're going to break it into a couple chapters. We're going to give like a high level overview. I'm going to bring up some of like the top comments that I got on my deep dive video. And then we'll go through kind of just like thematically what stood out to us in that. What are things that we feel may or may not need to be debated? And or, I mean, this one's, I feel like 5 and 6 are going to be kind of soft on the debate topic. It's going to be more of like
our personal experiences with it.
Exactly. So the first one is, I'm calling it Coming Out and Friends, which is us seeing the lack of physical performance from Shane, the then pivot to let's grab dinner and have this unbelievable conversation between him and Rose, and then this parallel shot, which I'm now clocking Jacob. Like, I know he's going to give us a parallel shot when things are important, the other side of the coin. So what is Ilya doing with Svetlana that also parallels that? So I got a couple top comments. One was when Shane is at the coffee maker and he's looking at his phone. Right. And looking at the social media commentary about him and Rose. Someone on TikTok pointed out in that scene, the comment that he stops on is Shane looks like he would carry her bags, her hopes and dreams, her entire life. And then it cuts to Ilya, who also is on that comment on the thread. But the bags thing was an interesting call to what we see in episode 6 when they get to the cottage and our boy is carrying his suitcase. Another one I got was this one where I called out some of like the acting that Hudson does in the restaurant with his face.
Yeah.
And like the small little things, the silent nod yes to have you been with guys before, while the music drops out and it's just like screams as loud as it can. And this person was like, thank you so much for calling out that Hudson's acting is great. And you're like, do people not understand that? And even more so, seeing him out in public now doing interviews and whatever, he is not Shane at all. Nope. So like the fact that he played that character so well and did all of like the micro expression acting is
it's a 180 of who he is.
Completely.
Who he seems to be.
Completely. And then the last one that I thought was interesting was when Svetlana is talking to Ilya about oh, well, I would love to see you guys play on the same line, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And Ilya says, well, I don't think that Shane can play wing.
Yeah.
And she's like, but you can play both.
Yeah.
The play both in the bisexual versus being gay, whatever thing, you're more versatile. Yeah. Or just that one I completely on re-watch. But, all right, so then let's go thematically, right? So we're dealing a lot with being in the closet and coming out, which is a vast majority of this episode. And so from I guess if we zoom all the way to minute 1, him not being able to perform physically in theory for Rose. I know you and I talked about this on our last one of like those of us that are elders at this point and like felt the need to date girls to blah, blah, blah. That like physical, oh, it's just this thing and that's why it didn't work or that thing or whatever. A totally normal experience and one that, I think many of us have tried at least to pull off. And it was interesting when Rose was kind of like being nice to him at the beginning was like, it wasn't like she was disappointed or that she was giving him shit or even leaning into like, oh, the stress has been more so than usual. It was more of a like,
Yeah.
it's okay, which to me signified
Right.
she's already clocked you. So thoughts, feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I think she did. I think you're right. She clocked him. She knew something was off, right? I think this isn't her first rodeo, as she claims 70 to 80% of her boyfriends have left her for other guys. There's probably a pretty typical pattern in the behavior of
Yep.
of engagement and
Or lack thereof, yeah.
right, pursuing that is kind of tipping her off and giving her this inclination. Then suggesting that they have dinner, just the two of them.
Which it's the way she says it.
Yeah.
It's not the concept. Because conceptually, of course, as a couple, when you're dating,
Yeah.
first dating, I mean, yes, you want to introduce them to your friends, but like it feels kind of like we're going to have a conversation the way that she says it.
Right. So then cut to the restaurant and she's tiptoeing into the conversation and it appears to be lost on Shane a bit what we're trying to get to. And then she decides she needs to be a little more direct. And even her direct is not.
It's so gentle.
Right.
Gentle but firm was kind of the way that I talked about it.
Gentle with clarity.
Yeah.
There's no conflating or confusing what she's actually asking.
And one of the things that I called out was like she would finish a statement so definitively that there wasn't room for him to counter in a way, which was good. It was like, even just like her saying, are there any gay hockey players?
Right.
Of course there are. Are there any out?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I'm not even going to give you the softball. Like, I'm going to say definitively that obviously there are.
Right.
And I'm going to ask the question underneath the question, which is, are any of them out?
Right.
Bro.
Right. And then, she kind of then, like you said, we move to kind of the more direct line of questioning. And yeah, he can't really, there's no, with the most amount of graciousness that someone is probably capable of having, she's kind of boxed him into a corner of like, but also making it clear that it's a safe space, that he can really open up.
Yeah.
There's I think an amazing part of the acting is there is quite literally it is so free of judgment.
Totally.
How she's speaking.
Totally. And you think about it, like if you've dated someone, right? And granted, this seems to be a fairly short time frame, right? This doesn't appear to be months or whatever. But your natural reaction as her, rightfully so, is like, why did you deceive me? Why am I just like a pawn in your scheme?
Right.
And she brings zero of that to him. Is like, even as he's struggling to find his words to explain, and she says, you don't have to explain to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, but I feel like I need to. And she's like, you don't.
Right.
Like it is not a big deal.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We're here. And not only that, but also like then going into the questioning of, have you ever been with a guy? Have you ever told anyone about that? Have you ever blah, blah, blah? It's like she was already, it was like no skin off her back at all.
No.
And she's now just pivoting. And I think genuinely because she just enjoys him as a human and genuinely does want to be his friend. And that, yeah, this didn't work. That's fine. It's chill. That's how this sometimes goes. But she immediately goes into like, it's about him and not her.
Right.
And like making sure that this conversation is positively impactful in his life.
I think that goes back to also like in the previous episode, like she is so confident in she appears to be so confident in who she is.
Yeah.
Which we see right from the beginning of the conversation with the two of like their first time they ever meet. She's so confident in who she is, right? And so I think you see that playing into this conversation they are now having about whether he likes guys or not. she is so confident in who she is that it's not a comment on her.
Right. Yeah, no, and I think that's a great point because she's not taking it personally.
Right. Yep.
It's not like, oh, well, I'm not pretty enough or whatever. It's like, no, you just happen to like dudes.
Right. Yep. And as we've already said, it's not her first experience with it. So,
yeah. And that too, I think the writing on that of like, I think someone said this scene in particular is almost like verbatim by the way that she's written. And it's just perfect in terms of support, comfort, but then also following that up with 80% of my boyfriends or whatever have turned out gay. It's a nice way to like in some way, shape or form, tell Shane that his experience is not novel, not new, not different, you're not the first person to do this to me. Like I've experienced this already before.
But also what a great way for Rachel Reed to build a playbook of like how to perfectly support someone.
Totally.
And, I mean, I don't necessarily, there's probably a broad range of readership of these books, right? And ages and experiences and all of that. But
I would say traditionally mainly female.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, like maybe some people have already experienced this in some way and wish they had read that earlier of like maybe how to better walk through that and navigate that. And maybe some people will experience that in the future. And this is like a helpful approach in how to navigate that. Right.
Yep.
With some grace. And yeah, I mean, it's expertly done. You couldn't, in my opinion, draw it out any better of what, as someone who has been on the receiving end, like the Shane end of kind of that conversation of like, she covers everything that I feel like I would want to experience in that situation.
Yeah. No notes. Yeah. There's nothing more she could have said, she could have done. It was the perfect all encompassing. And then at the end, them leaving the restaurant and it being like, kiss on the lips. Listen, I actually do want to be friends.
Yeah.
I'm not like reaffirming I didn't take this badly. And guess what? Even if you're not going to text me, I'm going to text you.
Right. And this is not obviously who she is. There's just that little point of like when she ends that, she's running to the car and she's like, I'm serious. You're going to wish you never met me. Kind of reminds me of Wedding Crashers of the
Ela Fisher.
Yeah. I'll find you or whatever that is. Right. Yeah. Like it's kind of like, but like in a very playful, not threatening way. It just, when she says that for some reason, it just like brings me back to the Wedding Crasher thing. Clearly not the same thing, but just in the back of my mind, I'm like, yep. But like, I love that, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's the level of she's like, also in that statement is like, that's how much I want to support you and actually here for you. Not like a stage 5 clinger, like Wedding Crashers, but like, that's how much I really want to be here for you.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a comment of that, and maybe that's all in my head, but it just is a funny little thing every time I see that.
Yeah. And then we get this like Shane awkwardly like waving to her and just like taking a second to take a deep breath and be like, what the hell just happened?
Well,
I mean, still terrifying and whatever, but in the best way, in that he now has his first person that he's told who was super warm and loving and down.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing you could ask for in this moment.
Which I think is like, I would call out, I mean, I guess that was actually what we saw play out is much more of my experience than not.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of people that are not lucky enough or fortunate enough to have that experience.
And that first one it has the ability to like scar you for life or open you up to like, oh, this went really well with this person, so I'm going to move with a bit more confidence.
Right.
On the next one or whatever.
I think it's just important to call that out. I mean, it's not all... I love the way that this is all portrayed. And this is the idealistic where we really should be.
Yeah.
But that's also not what many people experience.
Yeah, I think the other thing though, like there have been other examples that have come up of like, well, what about this coming out thing? And sometimes it's overly Hollywood or overly rose-colored glasses. Like this, while totally positive,
Right.
was real enough to feel realistic and attainable, which I think makes it
Well,
even
speaks
more
to the
impactful.
writing and the acting
Yeah.
and all of that as well, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's I know what Shane was feeling. You know what Shane was feeling. It's an instant relief coupled with fear.
Yeah.
Coupled with the realization that like that's the first time he's admitted that. It's an extremely complex set of feelings and things that he's trying to navigate that any of us in that situation have tried to navigate.
Yeah, and it's just like I mean, him even just giving in to nodding. He's not saying anything. He just gives like not a small head nod, like a definitive nod.
Yeah.
And was it different? Yes. And like he couldn't say it out loud, but he was so safe in that space with her that his body took over and kind of like answered the question. And I think that there are so many times that even though like you know it, the action of saying it out loud, even to yourself, is hard. And so the fact that he can do this with her in a way that he can respond in a way he's comfortable with, which will lead up to what we see later in this episode, which again helps us understand why it was such a big deal for him to tell Ilya at that point. Yeah, I thought it was just perfectly written, perfectly acted. Hudson did an absolute standout job of like telling us everything without saying a single word in his actions. And so if any of you out there think that maybe Hudson Williams is not a talented actor, I would suggest rewatching that scene with your eyes open.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So then moving on from that to our parallel shot with Ilya and Svet, who I love deeply.
Same.
One of the things that I've caught some smoke for these episodes is
You have controversial opinions?
I guess
surprises
I do,
me.
which is so weird because I just am always so PC.
Yeah.
But it was mainly around their relationship, and that was like early on. I think by the time that we see her with him at the Olympics, where she comes and like saves him from that conversation with his dad and whatever, I'm like, okay, she's cool. We're in. I like her. This,
You didn't have that immediately?
I would have wanted to have hung out with her, but I didn't like that she was waiting in his dark house to F him when he was supposed to be effing shit. I didn't like that.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.com. Just
No,
kidding.
it's not.
not.
And BetterHelp would never sponsor this. I would have to go on BetterHelp first.
Correct.
But I think we, especially in the Olympics episode, one of the things that I called out was that I believe it's Ilya's dad and her dad talking, who she interrupts.
I think so.
And that there's a callback to like, oh, she's been dragging him around since they were kids.
Yeah.
Right. And so while they have evolved into this like somewhat sexual place, they are best friends from like childhood, no questions asked. And we got a snippet of it then, but this scene is for me the confirmation of like they are besties and that we don't see them hook up in the scene.
Right.
Even though they're laying in bed together. And it's just this like, as we go from seeing that with Shane and Rose to this, you like clench. Cause you're like, am I about to see them hook up? And now it's like,
Here.
even though Shane's ready, now Ilya's unready again.
We had very different experiences watching this.
Well,
So, minus the hooking up part, these two are a lot more like you and your best friend.
oh, no questions asked. 1,000,000%.
So, that, I mean,
We never hooked up.
no, I mean, not that I would have been there, but like, or knew you guys at that point. But so maybe that was my lens on this from the beginning of like, I knew that they were besties from the start.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it, but I think especially based on the way Ilya fumbled the conversation about Shane's sexuality in Boston when they're sitting on the couch and he's like, I like women, you know, I have Svetlana, I have whatever, which
We got to move on.
I'm going to grab a knife, but whatever. I think it was really important to see them this way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
As, again, a mirror to...
But did that surprise you, the way that they were in that scene? Because it didn't surprise me.
No, it felt organic. I think well, I take that back. Them together being friends doesn't surprise me. Ilya, for the first time, showing this like childlike side of himself, going WWE, that surprised me.
Really?
That's the first time we've seen him be that way. Or even like light. Other than
but it
in the
all
locker
tracks, right? Like that's because that is the only safe person for him.
100%. Like conceptually, I understand.
No, I know.
It was just, to me, seeing him be that way was like, it caught my attention. My eyes were up.
I also see you that way with your best friend.
Yeah, but I'm a Shane apologist. So
I
right
know,
now
but
I'm not relating
I
to
know,
Ilya.
but the reason why you're a Shane apologist is because you actually really are more Ilya. Yeah.
Then who am I apologizing to?
Because, Jesus.
Nobody.
No, because, never mind.
Yeah, I just thought we needed to, I personally, as a viewer, needed to see this scene going into Tampa. Because it's like, okay, Shane's now in a different spot, but where is Ilya's head? And I think that this, just in general removes this, like, there's other options, quote unquote, for Ilya. But then her bringing up Rose to him and him, like, sitting in her lap, staring straight ahead. The vein in the middle of his forehead is fucking on one. And his fist is like clenched. It's like, okay, you're ready to fight for your dude. Thank God. Finally.
He's always been there.
No.
Yep.
No.
He has.
Nope. All right. So then we are going to move on to what I call Reunited. And they are playing in Tampa together at the All-Star game. We've got some real nerves going on. We get some clarity. And we get a bit more, I guess, of Ilya's childlike moments in the pool. Mm-hmm. Comments wise, what did I have?
You can see that Ilya is very pensive.
Yes. Him in this Hawaiian shirt is wild.
Which Tommy Bahama is never it. But
yeah. But one of the things that I assumed was the case, but I guess Ilya was the most clear, concise, and direct we've seen ever in his line of questioning with Shane. It took a couple rounds, but he was looking for definitive answers. Is Rose here? You and her are not. I have something to tell you. So that was the thing. Shane was like, if I tell you, do you promise not to laugh or whatever? And you get the shot of Ilya just looking at him and his whole face is relaxed, but his eyes are like darting back and forth across Shane's face. I'm like, I said, I wonder what Ilya was thinking he was going to say, because it wasn't this like, I have something big to tell you. It's like, if I tell you, do you promise not to laugh?
Not to make fun of me.
Right. But it was just kind of like, supposedly, spoiler from the book, as you guys love to do. The internal monologue was that he didn't know, obviously, that Shane and Rose broke up.
Yeah. Actually, that was one of my unanswered questions. But go on.
Yeah, it's like, what was he thinking?
Oh, not that part. But yeah.
Supposedly, he was worried that Shane was going to say something along the lines of like, she and I are engaged.
Right. Yes. I have seen that as well.
And not just like, I hired a stylist.
Which, I mean, he looked pretty good walking in. But like,
especially compared to...
I mean, even I could have thrown that together. Lies. Well, I would have texted you from the dressing room and been like...
Lies.
No, I would have, like I always do, text you from the dressing room and be like, how does this look? And it's about 50-50.
Yeah.
But anyway, actually, one of my unanswered questions from this, how do they, in the show, the relationship with Rose is just kind of unresolved from a public perspective. We never really see any more about that. We just see it spoken between the two of them and how that relates to them. But that was, I mean, they were talking about it on TV shows. It was all over, Tell All, I think, which is like a TMZ type thing, right? It was all over the place. So like that was, how did that just kind of like
fizzle out?
Right. But then, because having been in this, hiding for so long, like my brain thinks about this, like not that I'm hiding anymore, but like for a long time, that's kind of whatever. Shane comes up with the idea of the foundation, the charity, all of that. So we've now like broken up with Rose, or we're no longer together. You are now with your supposed enemy, starting a charity. Like, what are the optics of that? And like, would people start questioning that?
In episode 6, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I jumped ahead, but yeah, my question was based in episode 5.
Yeah, I think at the end of this episode, we see that even Shane's parents still think they're dating.
Right.
And so my guess is that it's more of like he's on the road for hockey. She's finishing a film. They're not in the same city. Maybe that's the log line. But yeah, we definitely don't get any closeout of that at all in this season.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess the reason why they were able to see each other more was she was shooting in Montreal. Yeah. So, okay. But yeah, I mean, I guess the point still stands. We don't see the closeout of that relationship and how that, from a public perspective, what that looks like.
Yeah. And I guess one of the biggest things that stood out to me in this scene in particular with them at the bar is the role reversal of like Shane has a new pep in his step because he has found clarity, right?
Yep.
Like he has tested the theory that maybe he's not gay, and all signs came back to no, bro, you do be gay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So now that that's closed out and you have feelings for this guy, the only path is to confirm or fail with Ilya, was the way I took it. Is like, he
knows what the objective is now.
But it's almost with more, there's more.
The ambiguity is gone, though, right? Like there is only one path for him.
Right.
Fail or not, like there is only one path.
Right. But it feels like there's more of an urgency to it of he's like struggled through the years and years and years and years of this with Ilya. He freaked out in Boston when Ilya finally demonstrated like boyfriend vibes for like 30 seconds. Panic, gotta go. The tuna melt's gonna make me shit, whatever. That panic sent him into maybe I'm not gay. Confirmed we is.
Right.
And you have at least one person that loves and supports you. He was always like the Bambi character, and now he is walking into this bar, goes right up to Ilya, is not in any way, shape, or form like fully ready to go, but knows that like this is the opportunity.
But there's also a weight lifted off of his shoulders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's a levity for sure.
Yeah, I don't disagree that it can be interpreted as urgency. I think for the first time in his life, he knows with certainty that this is what he wants. And so it's not that he needs to rush into it, but he's coming to it.
Well, they're not rushing into anything.
Well,
this
no.
has been so many fucking years.
No, but it's not that the urgency of rushing into something. It's, I just know exactly what I want and need now. And so I'm coming to it with this energy, with this
clarity, certainty.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what it is from my point of view.
Yeah. And we'll get to it when we get to it. But in a couple minutes, he says in so few terms, like, I can't pretend that this isn't what it is. And I don't feel this way about you anymore.
Did that speak to your heart?
Well, no, because I'm not waiting. I'm already throwing shit.
Well, true.
So like day one, we're getting this figured out. But
correct.
But no, I think like to me, the urgency is there. It is centered around that. Is that he finally can recognize Ilya is it, and like he's not going to go over the top and be crazy, but like he also can't operate in this like ambiguity on, off, whatever insanity.
Yeah. I would just use a different word. I think it's clarity, not urgency.
But with that clarity comes like, I'm also not doing this anymore if it is this way, which is I need to then get an answer to that question urgently, you know?
I know that's what you would need. I don't see it that same way.
Tortoise meat hare.
No, I think you need that urgency to resolve that open item. I don't see that here with Shane. I think it is just he is excited for what this opportunity can bring, and he knows that's what he wants.
Yeah. And Ilya is the softest.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen him this whole series. And the way he's looking at him and like knows Shane so well at this point that his words are about 1/3 of what he's thinking or feeling. And so he has to be locked in on all of the other physical clues with Shane to understand when he says we're not compatible or whatever. Like, what does that actually mean? What are you actually trying to say to me?
Yeah.
But it was like, to me, it was just this whole scene at the bar was a role reversal, even to the point of Shane rotating in towards Ilya to walk past him to go out. And Ilya's just like eyes glued on him the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like they both have figured
out this is what they want.
Yeah. And in that, they're acting antithetical to the way that they have up until this point.
Which is actually, they figured that out at the end of episode 4 in the club. That stare down that you hate, that is when they knew it.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Totally. Yeah. It's just, I had not anticipated, in theory, right? If I was to zoom out, of course, this would be the progression, right? The one has acted like the Dom, I don't care, is going to have to play sub and vice versa. And so it worked for sure. It just was like, again, as you're following like scene by scene and you're hoping that, again, we're like back on the roller coaster chugging uphill. You're like, are we still, or is there going to be like a, it's like, nope, we're still going. God.
I wasn't looking for these pitfalls like you were.
I'm sorry, you're not like a doomsday planner. Like, hello.
I really wasn't. Like the Svetlana thing, like you and like what you said about them in their scene, right? And how you were concerned about them hooking up never entered my mind.
Maybe it's because you're an Ilya apologist and whatever he wants to do is fine.
No, not true.
But then we go from that scene to them in the pool with the kid, or not them, Ilya in the pool with the kids. And
kind of got away from you.
And he is just like how he stumbled into this pool and wrangled these kids and is now like holding court and setting up the game that they're going to play together. And then you just have nerd bomber Shane, who's now out of his suit and in a Hawaiian shirt, sitting on the sun lounger, just like the mom, watching them play and watching Ilya be so like light and playful and whatever. You're like, who the hell is that? I have a question. Hello.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
No.
Really? Think about pool experiences.
Oh, me with
Correct.
her niece nephew. Yeah, of course, duh.
You are him. You are Ilya. 1,000,000%.
Maybe.
You are.
Yeah, I'm a great uncle, duh.
This is you with my nieces and nephews, our nieces and nephews.
Well, yeah, you gotta have fun.
And I'm sitting there chilling.
Yeah, being boring.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah, this is you. So
I mean,
there's a little insight for all of you.
I mean, yeah, duh. Hello. You gotta have fun.
So
and I know that I think we brought this up talking about Shane at the museum or whatever. But as someone invested in their love story, I'm like, is this what they want? They can't even tell each other they like each other yet. So obviously we're miles and miles behind. But it was the first kind of like, they're both there playing on the same team, having fun, kissing on the helmet.
which was a weird thing for me, but yeah.
Yeah. But like a super great. I did have someone comment. I said, Ilya is giving like golden retriever energy when he gets out of the pool and like
Yeah.
shakes on Shane. I'm like, hey, he's trying to be
Also
a goofy
something
little
you would do.
doggo. Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, it's fun. But yeah, I don't know. That one, this like segment was so, again, helping ramp up.
I can feel your anxiety
Yeah.
lessening as we move through this.
Yeah. Because like, thank God I can put the knife not away, but it's like on the side table.
Not under the pillow.
Right. It just is like, okay.
Is it in the drawer?
No.
Okay. Again, this is not actually a violent house. We don't.
No, of course not. But no, to me, this was them reuniting, it going well, them flipping roles, us seeing the lighter side of Ilya, and then seeing them play together. It was like, I can like drop my shoulders, like,
Yeah, you can exhale too.
but like not all the way, because just in case.
You're a mess.
Nah. So now we have coming out again and a little pre-game lovin'. In terms of top comments I had from this section, these may be a little preemptive, but there were two things that I called out in my deep dive that I thought were important. One was we don't see them hook up, right? Obviously, the meat of that scene was them having this like super powerful moment together where he comes out and then Ilya almost like meets him there from like an emotional standpoint and shares about his dad and breaks down. The other then was the fact that even though Ilya is like holding Shane because Shane got in his lap and was like kind of rocking back and forth, that it's like the first time he had shown vulnerability since his mom died potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a theory that the room number, which is 1217, 12 was
My
when that is your birthday, but 12 was when he lost his mom and 17 was when he met Shane for the first time in rookie season. Just that there was like such a bow on that moment of like, he finally opened up to you. You treated that with the kindness and love and respect or whatever that he would have rejected had this happened like 9 months ago, right? Because he wouldn't have been open enough to do so. And what?
Oh my God. The parallels just keep coming between you and Ilya.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
But keep going.
But they've finally broken through that like first wall of like, okay, you can see behind the curtains. I'm going to be honest, whatever. And then we get the hilarious thread of them like, Ilya being like, hey, come over. And Shane's like, we have a game tonight. What are you talking about? Would never do that. As he's putting on his clothes and walking out the door to go to his place, they obviously hook up. Again, we don't see that on the show. And we get Ilya for the first time without Shane asking, sharing like, because Alexei calls, he declines the call. And Shane's like, is everything okay back home? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, Ilya is like, it's my brother, says something. And
he's an asshole or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. And Shane's like, okay, I have more questions. And he just starts asking the next couple. And instead of like shutting down or whatever, it's like Ilya knows that's Shane. And so he just goes, too many questions. And Shane apologizes. And it's like, okay, we're figuring it out here. Okay. You have to share a little bit, and Shane, you need to shut up a little bit. Okay. It's a combo. Let's work on this together. But yeah, I mean, across these, obviously we see them from like a recap perspective. Ilya finds Shane on the beach.
Which just, I mean, that's also nothing we've ever experienced ourselves of me asking questions, you saying, no, not telling me to shut up, but you in your head would like me to shut up.
Yeah. There's a lot.
Sometimes we got to drill into this shit.
Speaking of BetterHelp.com, we're going to sign you up and you can talk to them.
Look, well, hold on. To clarify, these questions are about you.
Yeah.
Not me.
Well, I don't know. Go talk to somebody else about me. I'm busy.
Secondly, I have said and I will always say, everyone could use a therapist.
Including our dog.
Yeah. So
He's sleeping down here in a gold chain necklace.
For some reason, he thinks it's his collar.
He wanted to match. But I think one of the main things, especially about this beach scene, that I really loved was like Ilya is being, what's the right?
Vulnerable?
I was like open, raw, vulnerable.
A word you don't use.
In that he immediately goes into, I looked up that word, compatible, right? And again, finding the ultimate clarity that he needs, that, okay, so you're not into her, and that's not going to work, and that's not going to be a problem for me. So I should do this.
Which is funny because he says, I thought I knew what it meant, but I wanted to make sure. And so the hinge, the turning point is when he thinks he knows what the word compatible means and that it's safe for him to begin to move forward with Shane. But, and so we see that. We see that in the pool. We see that, right? But just to make sure, he needs to double check before we can move with diving into the deep end. To keep the pool analogy, I guess.
And to then go and like, and rightfully so, he is a little bit scarred and scared from what happened in Boston, right? He started to show that vulnerability, and then Shane freaked out, and now he's like,
but it was
are there
also
any landmines here?
Yeah.
But
he took a different approach, though. Like, he was more careful with his
1,000,000%
words.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. I'm mainly looking from Ilya's point of view in this of like, I don't do this, and this scared the shit out of me doing it. And so I'm getting all the signals that like, we're good. You still like me. This could still be a thing, but I'm not going to jump until like, I feel like I've checked off all the,
which is why he had to look up the word.
Right.
Yeah.
And it also is like a word that we as Americans rarely use. So sure as shit, an ESL person would have to look up. Like, it's not like I don't like her, right? Which would be obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely less used.
Yeah, it's not something that's in, I don't think, not in my vernacular, used every month.
I don't know. I've never really thought about how often I use the word compatible, but yeah.
Not often. I don't know that I've ever heard you say it.
Compatible? We could spell it.
No. So we get this moment on the beach. He says that. Thumbs are sliding together. Again, this callback to like these small moments, like the toe touching and whatever. And Shane looks over at him and is like, hey, what room are you in? Again, this like shift in the dynamic. And then we get the hotel scene where I have never had to come out to someone that I had already slept with that was a male.
Correct.
Because I feel like it's somewhat implied. But for Shane, it was important for him to say it.
But we're wading into the bi versus gay versus pan, like anything, right? Like this is a different, for you and I, it's clear. So there's no ambiguity around that. But I guess we technically, like we had conversations about that before. Early on.
Yeah.
I guess. So, I mean, it just was a different approach.
Yeah, I think it was mainly like, we know we're attracted to one another.
Yeah. Neither one of us came and made this strong of a stance.
Right. But the way I took it was like, it's not just that he's the only person he can tell. He, in a way, wants to tell him because I'm not just gay, as we hear him say. It's not just this. It's not just effing my arch rival.
Right.
I think I like you too much. And I like.
It is also the only other person he can tell. But yeah. But yeah.
Rose knows. Like he could call his parents, right?
No, but I mean, like this is the only other person that feels safe for him to say. But yeah. I completely agree with what you're saying. There's much more to this, what's going on than just stating.
Yeah.
It for the sake of.
And I think that there come points in situationships, relationships, whatever. You've ridden a couple of these rides with me where it's like, I am ready for this. So are you ready for that?
Which means we should all be ready for this.
Well, no, that you start with the ask. Are you ready for this? But and this is in a totally like different time zone, right? Like this is
Right.
Are you willing to actually give a fuck about me?
Right.
But I do get like there comes a certain point where you as an individual have inadvertently crossed a line that you can't like go back across. And so you have to be like, are you cool with this? Or should I dip? And I think that's like an evolution of relationships. There's multiple stages where it's like you and I kind of did things different. But
Yeah.
like we moved in together fairly early-ish on whatever. But even like me getting your initials tattooed on my arm, like
Yep.
I was totally down. And I was like, this is great. This is what I want to do, whatever.
At 9 months.
But then I have to come back and be like, you might think this is a little wild. And then engagement, marriage, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like I move swiftly and with confidence, and you are a little bit more like introspective and
Thoughtful about next steps.
boring. But like in that moment, I very much aligned with Shane of like, I'm not going to pretend that A, I don't feel this way, and B, I'm not going to let you get away with lying or trying to like say that you're not there because you are. And I appreciated that. And Ilya needed that of like, you can't just say it didn't matter or, oh, this is just a plan to F. It's not, bro. And I think one of the things that was interesting to me was the contrast of him on the beach to him in the hotel room. Ilya. And that you found him, you made the move to like touch thumbs.
Looked around first, but
But then you get to the hotel room and it's like he just kind of like retreats out of defense. And I was like, well, what? Hey, I thought we were done with that. I thought we had turned that off. And then actually, right here, when he shifts his posture to open up towards Shane, he's still looking straight ahead, not saying anything. But it's like, okay, we haven't totally fucked this up. To me, it's like you sat on the bed, you're opening up your posture. Just say, I love you, but I can't go back to Russia because otherwise they're going to kill me. And that's what I'm scared about. Okay, thanks. We can work with that. We've got something to work with. This is meant to be a debate, so you should probably have.
There are just so many parallels here between you and Ilya. And also Shane, actually, when you're identifying with Shane as he has flipped the narrative, not the narrative, he's flipped to becoming more like Ilya. I'm just kind of like watching this all kind of happen.
We're making a YouTube video.
I know, but it just is interesting to me. I think that, I don't know, I appreciate that they are finding a foundation to build from. I think Ilya's concerns are real because we have not gotten to the point of where he no longer has to go back to Russia, right? He still has an obligation back in Russia that he feels he has an obligation back to Russia. So again, I think it just is as I tend to think it is for him. It just is more complicated for Ilya to really kind of speak his truth, but we see him making the right steps towards doing that.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, this version of him is miles ahead of what we've seen. I think if I had to read the subtext, I think Shane admitting that he probably likes him too much and not being scared from his like mini lash outs in the scene or not backing away and actually just leaning further in was like, you're not getting away with this. Like the armor is this thin and him
right, but
showing that kindness and whatever.
Because that's ultimately what Ilya is pushing for, is to feel that, to push a little further, to know that there is a safety, right? Like that sometimes you push people away.
Yeah, to me, it feels very subconscious at the very least. It's not a
Yeah, I'm not saying he's
yeah,
making a conscious choice, but what he's trying to determine is how safe is this for me, right?
yeah,
And so, to your point of him, Shane kind of like not backing away as Ilya is kind of
freaking out.
right, is subconsciously Ilya testing if this is someone that I can rely on and trust as a safe place. It's not a healthy way to do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we see here.
Yeah. And this was the moment that there was a crack in the armor and Shane jumped in, and he will never be able to undo that or repatch the armor again on that one, which I think is perfect, which is exactly what they needed. They needed some super vulnerable moment that allowed them to see one another in a way, in a crisis, like, and that, not even that that's necessarily a crisis, but holy shit, this isn't just you think I'm hot, that you like me. This is way
But I think
more.
that's the super relatable thing about this is in any relationship, yes, you come to a point where you're like, oh shit, like as you're progressing through steps, this is a different take and a very different kind of events that they are going through and dealing with and experiences and all of that. But there is this, it's no different than like when people freak out about saying, I love you for the first time, because you're scared that you're not going to hear it back. Right.
Yeah, that one I don't.
I know this kind of is lost on you a little bit.
That one doesn't, I don't relate with personally, but yes, I know that people do.
Right. And so that's like, there is this anxiety, hesitation, fear of I am acknowledging that I have so many of these feelings for this person. And I don't know, even though I think all signs point to it being reciprocated, I don't know that until I hear that from the other person. Right. Then at that point, and so like, not that that necessarily is happening in this scene but I think that is kind of the same resolution that we see here is like they finally can get to that point where they are honest and can actually share how they feel about each other, even through that hug.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. It's accepting and embracing the
fear,
uninhibited self of like,
right.
It's not that you shirk away or be like, it's okay or whatever. Like he just jumped into his arms and was like, hey, you're good.
Right.
And as Jacob does, we see this parallel in multiple other episodes, but like, yeah, this was the first time I took a deep breath, because I'm like, you can't undo this. You can't. Everything else has been like, if there was a boom at the end of this episode, I was gonna fly to Crave headquarters and no.
You really anticipate like the worst in like the relationship aspect.
Well, like, where have you been? I mean, one of the things that Jacob and Rachel are being like praised for is that there's no dropout. Every gay love story is like, we hooked up and then someone outed us, or we hooked up and I now have HIV, or like that's
right.
This doesn't give us any of that, but you're still like,
no, I mean, those are very valid points. That is, whether it's heterosexual or
I mean, almost exclusively in gay stories. That's
for sure. I'm saying, but like it can happen across the board, right? But yes, it is predominantly more likely to be written, shown, or happen in real life as well, I guess. But, well, really?
What?
You don't think so? Dropout?
I mean, I guess.
I mean, think about, anyway, I guess, I don't know. I never really approached this show as like with that same expectation. And maybe that is like truly a credit to the writing and the producing and the directing of this show. It's not that I knew the ending was going to be blissful and, at the end of episode 6, I didn't, but I had hope throughout the entire thing. But what I'm hearing from you clearly is like, you didn't. So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I had a very different perspective. Like, I was hopeful throughout this.
I feel like it's one of those things that traditionally, either you start the first stumble, for example, like in episode 1. Oh, Vegas. If their relationship had just continued to evolve, right, I would have felt uncomfortably, but still like hopeful. By design, and as in, I think is necessary as part of the storytelling, the ups and downs of their time over the years makes me look for the potential pitfalls to come, right? Or as I'm watching, for example, I'm watching Shane come out, blah, blah, blah. He shows up at the bar in Tampa, a different version of himself, right? If he was to have met an Ilya that was 2 years behind, or hadn't admitted to himself that like, this guy's it, I need to like get some answers here, you would get a situation where Ilya would be perceived as an ass and Shane would be like, I was so ready for something different because I'm in a different space, that Shane could have then just been like, oh, so this is just him and it's not going to work. And so I have to take this energy, love, whatever, elsewhere. Right. And so it's this like, you get at the bar, again, Ilya being this like soft, hyper attentive version of himself, finding him on the beach. We're going up. And even then we get like the slightest little when we see him in the hotel where he's like, it's just a plan to fuck, or, you know, whatever the hell. And you're like, no, niet. Be the crybaby, accept it, love him, say good night, Shane, like you do at the end of this episode, and let's figure it out. I'm done with the roller coaster. The roller coaster's canceled. We're back,
closed for business.
We're back on the street that has red lights and green lights and lanes. I'm not doing that anymore. We need to not.
This was a different emotional journey for you than it was for me.
Yeah.
This is what I'm hearing. And look, we can sit here and I can sit here and say this in hindsight and you know, the benefit of knowing what we all know through episode 6. I'm not saying what I'm saying because I know what happens through episode 6. I'm saying, like, I guess my point is like, the directing, the acting, the production of this show was partly I just let it take me along the way, right? But I did always feel hopeful and never discouraged, I guess, despite the multiple barriers and things that they had to overcome. I never felt at any point that anything they had encountered was too much to overcome based on what I saw as them and their admiration and love for each other before they even knew it. Now, I wouldn't have been shocked if it didn't end up the way that it ended up, but like, I guess all
of a sudden Shane's dating Kip.
Oh God.
Well, that one wouldn't work. Maybe Shane and Scott.
Oh God, Ilya and Kip. I don't know.
That would be bad.
He's putting tuna in the smoothies all of a sudden.
Yuck.
Heck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think that, and especially as we end this off, back to the comment that I read out, like, it is so, I think, important that we didn't see them hook up.
Right.
And that it was like, no, we're going to let this emotional thing have its moment, and then them using their first names. Thank fucking God. Good night, Shane. And him just kind of like chuckling, being like, good night, Ilya. And going to bed. Yeah, it's like,
that was cute.
Okay, maybe we're going to survive this.
I'm going to start calling you by your last name.
No. But yeah, I mean, just like the look on his face. And
what a weird position.
Someone pointed out that they think that's a ginger ale on the side table.
Could be.
But he's just like a smiley little dude.
Yeah. You want to put captions on?
12-17.
Did you even think of me? Rude.
And he's like, oh my God. So then we get to this very quick little pregame.
God, we're not even halfway through.
Trust me. So Boston Louis texting you, shut up. It's not, I don't care.
I love him.
Hayden for MVP on this one. But again, just like, I can't wait until after the game. Like, I need to just And thank God, now that we know what happens after the game.
True.
But no, we can't. We have a game. Oh, no, shoot. Oh, okay. I'm putting on all my clothes and I'm currently jogging out the door to your house. So, all right. So clearly the magnetism has reached its peak here. Again, we don't get the actual sex scene. Obviously, something happened. Phone rings, Alexei, whatever. And we get that little, you asked too many questions. But then, even more so to like flip the narrative, Shane goes and he says, I'm sorry for asking too many questions. And I apologize in advance if I didn't let you know, like, we're going to smoke you guys tonight.
Yeah.
And Ilya, everyone, Shane Hollander is an asshole.
Yeah.
And it's just like, again, laying into this like role reversal of them almost playing with one another on that, of like, you think I'm
well,
an
there's
asshole.
a level of comfortability between them now, right?
Totally.
We've reached a new threshold of the relationship.
Totally. And I
there's
mean,
a little bit of breathing space.
Yeah.
To allow for that levity and that kind of joking back and forth.
I mean, think about the last time we were in Boston and Ilya had to like welcome Shane back to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But overall, like, these two scenes absolutely set us up for, all right, shit's different in the best way.
You're taking 3/4 of a full breath now, at least.
Yeah. I've put the oxygen tank next to me.
Right.
I'm not sucking on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then we pivot to the next segment, which is the loss and then the monologue. In general, we lose Papa, which...
Hey, look, as someone that had Alzheimer's, Parkinson's?
You?
No, him.
Oh, yeah.
Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah. Dementia.
Sure. Same thing. Essentially the same thing as you've told me.
It's an umbrella term, but
yeah. Dementia. Look, glad he's not suffering anymore. That's actually pretty terrible.
And I think also for Ilya, this is a very sad moment, but also one that
it allows him
to be free. Yeah.
In many ways, right? Not just being with Shane. Just being able to move on from the trauma that is Russia.
Yeah. And his family.
And the baggage that comes along with that.
And so we find out about that. We have Ilya figuring out that he has a fetish for Shane in glasses, briefly.
How come you've never said that about me in glasses?
Because I don't share in that. And then
you don't even think I'm cute in them?
I mean, sure. And then we have the post-funeral dinner where we kind of just set some new boundaries.
Yeah, as we should.
And then just like wreck me, we get that monologue in the little tunnel there.
So have you done this? I read about this and I tried to do it, but my ADD was too bad. But people have said to listen. Obviously, neither of us understand a word of Russian other than
speak for yourself.
Niet. But to listen to the monologue without captions, without like just listen to it. And I guess that would mean also not watching it, right? Because there's captions. Like
no, if you watch it without captions, it's just his voice.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
so
Brett doesn't understand this because he always has captions on all the time, which drives me fucking insane.
It's my ADD. I have to have them on because I need something more than just what's going on TV.
Mind you, he has his phone and his iPad in his lap at the same time.
Well, yeah, I'm
and lost the thought.
No. I was trying to make a joke about compatible. Never mind. Yeah, doesn't matter. Anyway, so I guess I didn't know that because I only watch things with captions on. But I guess I haven't fully done this then, is to watch it and listen to it without captions. And I guess just being able, like, it was speaking to how great of a monologue it truly is, because you can still capture the feeling.
Yeah.
And what is being said. It's almost like music, right? Like it transcends language.
My brain just went to Yeba.
Right. Yeah. It transcends music, or it transcends language. And you know what is being said without actually understanding
the
it.
details. Yeah. Some of the top comments that I got from this section, one of them was Ilya's character here, the fact that he didn't fight Alexei when he called him an F word and insulted him to his face, but only started fighting him when he disrespected Svetlana. He's so used to being insulted and beat down by his family that he doesn't try to fight for himself.
He'll fight for others.
He'll fight for others, which, like, yikes.
Agreed.
Ouch.
I don't know if we talked about this or if I read it on Reddit. Someone made the comment that the F word is just a comment, like, in a way that it used to be here.
Totally.
Right? And it still is in some areas of the US. But maybe we did talk about this, but it wasn't necessarily, it can be interpreted as not necessarily outing him as like calling him an F word.
Right.
It's more of a general slur.
Yeah.
In Russia.
And that was, I guess going back to like one of the questions I left this episode with was, and maybe it's twofold, but one is here, what is the background with him and Alexei? Like what was the dissolution of their brotherhood, their friendship?
Yeah. Yeah, because we talked about this on the last video, and I think we had kind of different takes on that, but yeah.
And then in his monologue, he says, I wish he could have known me. And I was like, is that about your dad? Is that about Alexei? What did you want them to know?
Both.
About you? Right? Like, but yes. Yeah, I mean, it totally for sure. I don't think it was him like actually calling him out.
Yeah. I think he knows. I don't think the using that word was, I guess, I don't know. But
I guess how, I mean, yeah, we have no context for what Alexei knows or doesn't know.
My gut tells me that he knows. I don't know why I think that from the show, but like I just think that he knows. I also just think he was using the F word as a general slur and not directed at
his sexuality.
Yes. But I do agree with the comment. I think that's a good take. Like that is
whether it's related to his sexuality or not.
Correct.
He is. Yes.
Yeah. And not that I can necessarily relate to what is being said there, but I agree of that is someone who has been physically, emotionally abused and is used to that.
Yeah, is calloused to these things.
Right.
Except for when you do it to someone else. Then it's like rage times 5.
Right. Which that second part, neither one of us could relate to at all. We would never.
No. Wouldn't be me. Another comment I got was Jacob did an interview recently where for the monologue, he chose Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven as the through line. And he's like, it's the most beautiful sound he's ever heard. And he wanted that as the background to this monologue. And I guess there's also, this is probably the coldest tea of all time, but like a theory that Beethoven wrote that for a male lover he may or may not have had.
Sounds vaguely familiar. I mean, not the tea necessarily, but like of that, hearing that a long time ago. Yeah.
Which was interesting, but still, I mean, you think about it, the music production in the show has been 1,000,000 out of 10.
Yeah.
So good. And to choose something so classical and so beautiful to be the background to that scene, you have to be very sure about the choice that you're making. And Beethoven can never be a bad choice necessarily in that moment. But it's interesting when they've gone so indie with every other choice.
Right.
That this felt like it needed to be something that was classic, that stood on its own.
Yeah. I think it, obviously, you can write his dialogue to maybe match that music, but it does kind of...
I think this is true. I don't think that you get actually his full monologue in the book.
You don't get the full monologue in the book? While you're looking that up, I guess. So what I was saying is, like, in theory, you could write the dialogue to kind of Jacob's interpretation of the dialogue. I don't know if it's a 1-for-1, right? And I don't even know where I'm going necessarily with this, but I don't think that's what happened. I think what I'm saying is this was a great choice. The music, the to kind of meet the confusion and the muddled feelings that he must be having of the almost kind of resolving his life in Russia, right? This is post, he told him, I'm going to set up a trust for my niece. You will never ask or get another thing from me, and we'll never talk again, I think, even, right? Like, I don't want to talk to you ever again.
If you do, I will use all of my fame and money to make sure you will never show your face again. And
so there's this mixed bag of emotions, which comes through in that Moonlight Sonata. And I cannot pretend to know anything about classical music, but it would be interesting to know what someone who has knowledge of that, what their take on that would be.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, sonically, it is telling the story of the emotional roller coaster.
Right.
Yeah, so according to this, the emotional confession occurs, but it's not a full-length written out speech. The show expands on this. So it's really more of he was speaking in Russian, blah, blah, blah. And without Shane knowing, Ilya says, I'm sure the main line of I love her, but not I love you or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was Jacob filled in all of the extra space with his writing for that scene. And the last comment that I got, which was interesting, and we'll have to check because I didn't notice this, but supposedly there's a police car that drives by right as Ilya is trying to say, not like I love you. And that there's red and blue lights. And you're like, we're in a surveillance state. Wheel 911.
I mean, I think I read a comment that someone claiming to have lived in Russia or knew intimately kind of what that is like, to the extent that Ilya would not even be in public saying that.
Yeah.
Or saying that in general, given the surveillance state of what Russia really can be, that you wouldn't actually be saying that out loud as him.
Right.
In reality, that's we can say a lot of things about where we are at here in America.
Dumpster fire.
Right. And it's not to say that can't be used against us at this moment.
Come and find me, ho.
But I don't know that we truly appreciate what that is like there.
For sure. And that I've got some third-degree burns from the comments over the whole series where I'm consuming this with what they're showing, right? And there's no question that obviously his dad was a fuckwad, right? The whole every time we're back in Russia, there's so much pressure and angst and anxiety and whatever, right?
He's miserable there.
And me pushing for Ilya to be different is me pushing for that character to be different in this love story, not in the fact that you live in Russia and you should just be out and open and whatever. I'm not fucking stupid.
Right.
And I don't know the details of what it's like to live in a country like that or whatever.
Right.
This show is an escape and a love story that I want this character to evolve beyond that. And this character has, especially post Papa, the opportunity to be chuck him. I'm not in. F this. Which
to his credit, we see immediately after his dad dies. We do.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
We do.
The end of this episode, though, he was packing to go back to Russia. He was.
I know.
Which he has a whole life there. He has friends. He has family. He has whatever. I'm not doing any of that.
I don't even know about that necessarily. I mean, yes, he does.
They don't show it, but in theory.
Yes, he does.
It's a comfort zone, even if it's uncomfortable. But
I think the reality is, what else can you do? Because he wants to be with Shane. They have nowhere to be alone together. So
the cottage.
Well, right. Yes.
I mean, listen, there are ways. They could have found ways. They could have.
Sure.
This is not. They are people of privilege and position that you could figure it out. I'm not saying that was the right thing for them or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and I don't mean to get into that whole argument, I guess. No, I think it is worthwhile. It's not worthwhile. It's meaningful to acknowledge not only kind of a level of privilege that which feels strange saying, but a level of privilege that we experience here in the US, and being able to be married and not, the US, as I've said, the US is far from perfect. But I think it is also an important acknowledgement of how truly terrible it is for people like us, people like them, in so many parts of the world. And I think that's an important acknowledgement to make.
Yeah, and that, all the comments, I'd be like, I didn't think about that, or I didn't think about it with the gravity of that thing. I'm simply responding to their, like, him and Shane's journey. And like, I can totally acknowledge that it's way harder for Ilya as a result. But yeah, so.
And knowing you, I know that you know that. I know that you are just so invested in that story of them.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily in your conscience. But like, I know that you would know, like, you fully understand that.
Yeah, I'm also a extreme person where, like, let's just put me in Ilya's shoes for a second. I would be down to, like, cut my family if they were not healthy for me, cut my friends if they were not healthy for me, and not come back to Russia if that was not healthy for me. Like, that would be a totally feasible thing that I would...
For you,
with
yes.
or without Shane.
For
me,
yes.
As a human being,
that is,
to me, that is
absolutely
all,
something that you would do.
Yeah, that is all negotiable. Like, I'm not...
And as someone who can actually cut ties easier and quicker than you can most of the time, I would actually have a harder time doing that.
Totally.
Doing what you just said.
Yeah. And so that is just my soapbox piece. We're done. But
yeah,
in this segment, we get obviously Shane finding out or hearing that, like, oh, Ilya didn't travel with the team to Nashville and whatever. And he goes to call Shane, freaking out a little bit, texts him, tries to call him.
I pulled up, so Google's AI function says there's 3 movements for the Moonlight Sonata, which is the background of Ilya's monologue, right? The first movement is often interpreted as a funeral march or a ghost scene, filled with mourning and despair rather than romance. So as this starts off, as the dialogue starts off, it's, I never want to come back here. I fucking hate it here. And they all fucking hate me. I pay for everything. I make sure everyone has clothes they like. I make sure the food is perfect. That father is buried next to his parents, that the tomb is perfect, and so on, right? The second movement can be described as a flower between 2 abysses, providing a brief, light, and dance-like interlude. So then we have, and it kills me that he took care of my father, and I didn't, but I couldn't. I wasn't here. I still paid for it all, and he will never forgive me for any of it, for existing. And it means I have no one now. Well, not no one. I have Svetlana. She loves me, and I love her. But not like, fuck me. Now, the third movement is a sudden outburst of fury, desperation, and intense emotional agitation, demonstrating the breaking of the composer's heart. But not like I love you. That's the worst fucking part of all of this. That all I want is you. It's always you. I'm so in love with you, and I don't know what to do about it. Okay.
Story checks out.
It's interesting how, not knowing any of this background of like what this Moonlight Sonata, and we're going off of what Google is saying the 3 movements are interpreted as, but that really aligns to kind of, you can make parallels and break that dialogue up into kind of aligning within these 3 movements.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so
and
I was
even
reading about this, but I wanted to get your thoughts.
The level of detail.
Right.
And like thinking through musical choices and whatever. Like I don't know if it's explicitly been said on the ones that I've watched about this show, but it's interesting that sometimes, for example, I am not someone who would go into the level of detail of being like, I'm going to choose this song because this, and this. My brain would say this fits the scene.
Yeah.
And it would be then people like me and us, hearing something,
Interpreting
reading
it.
into it, where then you begin to find these things where it's like, that wasn't a choice.
Yeah, but I think for you, knowing that you think a little bit differently, you literally see music as like, right. And
Yeah.
you can relate to like the colors, like Billy, and also, why can't I think of Baldy? We love her.
Baldy?
Nails.
Oh, Cynthia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see things in a different way.
Yeah.
Than I do, for sure, on that. So I guess what I'm saying, like, I'm sticking up for you a little bit, is like, you might not have done the research to understand why that makes sense. Like, I literally, like, as we took a quick break here, I went and Googled this and like tried to match it up and like line it up because it felt like it fit. Right. And so I might not have lined up the dialogue perfectly to like the different movements of what was, but close enough, right, to get the idea. But what I'm saying is like you might have intuitively just felt like that was it without understanding the reason why.
Yeah.
Which actually just speaks to how different, like how we approach things so differently, is like, I would have looked this up to be like, what would make that, like, how does this fit together? And you approach things in a much more organic way of like, this is right or this is wrong. Like, it fits or it doesn't.
Yeah, and I think almost more so, I am more attuned to the melodic changes driving a different emotion in me. And so I didn't need to hear necessarily that like that first part was a funeral march. But the second you said it, I'm like, well, obviously.
Right.
Like I can, my brain goes, well, duh, because I can hear it. I can see it. Like my brain has already put that together just without the words of it.
Right. And that's
to that, I would be like, this feels right. Right. And I wouldn't have the words for why it feels right. I would just know it feels right. And that would be enough for me to be like,
yeah. It's also an interesting, probably, introspection into us, is like, I want to understand why it might be right. And so I would, that, like, I am 100%, not that I could ever do what Jacob has done. And like, I'm not even remotely close to that. But what I'm saying is like, I would be doing the research to make sure that all lines up.
Yeah.
And to your point, you might not have the words to say why it lines up, but you feel it. And I'd be like, okay, I could see it, but like, I also want to make sure. Like, I need empirical kind of like a way to see that. Anyway.
Yeah, no, can't.
Once
I know. And I don't need any further confirmation.
No.
But,
and I will say, you are especially in those types of, especially artistic type things, there are very few times that you are wrong. Other parts of your life,
never.
You can be wrong.
I mean, in theory, I guess I just never seed it.
Saying the word seed it is...
No, we're set. No, but and I think one of the things that my like that so Raven moments throughout the week are like,
wait,
weird. What? You know who that person reminds me of? This person. And you pull up a picture and they are identical.
Yeah.
Or this person reminds me of that cartoon, or this song reminds me of this.
Like that person on Instagram of like how they clock their streaming and they're meeting different people.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, my brain just operates in general, operates that way. Mm-hmm. Like, I know what feels right, and I very rarely have the verbiage for why. I just know it is, and I just go with that.
Yeah.
Even in like my professional life. But to that point, we should test the theory. Look ahead, don't even look.
Okay.
How are you? Okay, not probably better.
Also,
how's your family?
Better or worse. My brother is, I don't know, scared. It makes him terrible, and it makes me terrible back.
Is it very upsetting?
Yes, but maybe I'm upset about the wrong thing.
You mean not your father?
Maybe I'd be different. I wish he could know me, or I don't know. English is too hard right now.
I wish I spoke Russian.
Yeah, you could probably learn it in a week. No accent. Perfect. Bonjour.
That's French, Ilya.
Yeah, I know shit.
Ilya and Shane.
I'm just walking. I needed to get out.
Hey, I have an idea. How about you tell tell me everything that's on your mind, but in Russian.
I won't understand, but maybe it'll help.
Love that.
Окей. Я никогда больше сюда не вернусь. Я здесь все ненавижу. И все меня ненавидят.
Я за все плачу. Я слежу, чтобы у всех были нормальные вещи, чтобы еда была на уровне, чтобы отец был похоронен рядом с его родителями, чтобы могила была идеально сделана. И все, что я слышу, это мало. Я хочу больше, Илья. Мне нужно больше, Илья. Больше, 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 больше. Я ни хрена этим людям не могу дать. Я им все отдал. Я сам чувствую себя пустым.
Я пофиг. На меня видит либо банкомат, либо врага. Или я не знаю кого.
Мой брат, он всегда меня ненавидел. Я знаю почему. Это убивает меня. И меня убивает то, что он заботился о моем отце, а я нет. Но я не мог. Я не был здесь. Я все равно за все платил. Но он никогда меня не простит. Ни за что. За то, что я вообще есть. И это значит, что теперь меня никого нет. Не совсем никого. У меня есть Светлана. Она меня любит. Я ее люблю. Но не так, как... Черт. Не так, как я люблю тебя. И вот в чем вся хрень. Я хочу только тебя. И всегда только тебя. Я так сильно тебя люблю и не знаю, что с этим делать. Окей, I'm done.
You feel better?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, I'm done. Also, at the beginning, there was a moment where I thought I heard him say McGill. And I tried so hard not to laugh. Is McGill. Yeah, I mean, utter perfection across the board, no questions asked. And I'm sure they cut. I mean, that song must be like
Yeah,
18 minutes long. But
I mean, it's
Um,
probably 7 or something. But yeah,
it's just like bullshit is something that has stood out of like more, because he says it so many times. And then whatever the word is for I love you,
Yeah.
it sounds like labubu to me.
Jesus.
So I always just see like
Good God.
a little Russian labubu in my brain. But yeah, I mean, a perfect choice. And this is where, again, like you have the writing, which is mainly Rachel, some of Jacob, the cinematography, which is incredible,
Yeah.
the music choices, which,
What is it? Peter Peters?
so Peter is the main composer. Jacob made a number of decisions, especially in these last 2 episodes.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he chose this, and he chose
right.
the
The outro?
song at the end of this episode
Okay.
when we get the ice kiss,
Yeah.
on ice kiss. And then someone named Harrison is the one that did the remix of Tattoo, because I've been informed by the comments. But I don't know a show where in recent years or memory that the music has been so like a
Acclaimed.
third character
Yeah.
on the like.
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't know why White Lotus popped in my head. That's not.
No, I think they score that show very well.
Yeah.
And I guess I would have to rewatch it because it's been so long. But I just like, I can't remember a moment like the first time Ilya and Shane are in Boston. No, Montreal. And Peter Peters' It's You is looping as their
Yeah.
whatever. Or that club scene where like the music is so important. And that if you took that out of it and swapped in any other song, it
Yeah.
wouldn't work in the way that I think it was meant to work. But all right, we had kind of jumped ahead. I guess the only thing we might want to touch on is, well, we talked about him and Alexei and Svetlana, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've probably covered this. Like,
Yeah, there was. But go ahead.
I think it's just obviously it's important for many reasons, right? But as the viewer, we know what's being said. Shane might be able to feel what's being said, but
Well, I mean, there are people who didn't turn on closed captioning, so they actually
oh right,
didn't know what was being said. I mean, I had a ton of comments like, make sure you turn on closed captioning. Like, I don't know how to turn them off. Like, they're always on. But
yeah, but it's also the kind of the obvious statement is like it's the first time he's been able to speak his truth in a way that he wasn't even able to with Svetlana, where so the parallel was Shane and Rose,
Yeah.
and he was being able to speak his truth, right, for the first time in his way,
and even in that not saying it,
right,
right,
Yep.
in that he's nodding
Yeah.
and acknowledging, but not saying the words out loud.
Yep. But you don't see that with Svetlana and him, right? Like with Svetlana and Ilya. So this is really like the first time that it's, for obvious reasons, is kind of hitting him over the head of like all of these feelings and what he truly feels. I mean, I think it's an amazing comparison of how bleak and desolate it feels being back home, not having love, and outside of Svetlana, not having love and support from people that are supposed to be important people in your life or what have you. And it really allows him to recognize how great, as if he didn't know, but like to truly appreciate how great Shane is.
Yeah, and actually I think that's an important thing, and in that it also is highlighting probably why he has felt so uncomfortable with what Shane brings to his life up till this point.
1,000,000%.
Because he's so not used to that. And so it is completely foreign.
Right. I think this really, this boils down to kind of like what my point of view has been for a long time of like what he truly has been dealing with in Russia.
Yeah.
And his baggage of like we all have from our own lives, right? Like his baggage and his what he's bringing to this relationship of his past, right?
Yeah, and that I think there's a part of him that doesn't know how to accept it, and there's another part of him that does not want to injure Shane with it, or inadvertently injure Shane with it, because everything that we see, and
it also makes it more real by having to speak to it, to talk to
1,000,000%. I mean, I think we mentioned this at the top of this filming thing. Like, I don't even know that I had said to myself out loud that I was gay until I told somebody else. Like, I had thought it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I had ever stood in the mirror and like said the words.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure that I didn't.
But I think that there is, for all of you Ilya lovers who got so heated with me across the first couple episodes.
Which is funny because you actually are him and you love him.
Yeah, but the one thing I will give this character credit for is that whenever Shane is crumbling, he cannot stop himself but to like go in and reassure him, put his hand on his face, sit next to him on the bed, blah, blah, blah.
Which is who for him? Who did he learn that from?
His mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like that's I think as we were talking about this is like I think that's also a through point of this whole scene back in Russia is the darkness since his mom passed away, right? And that light of Shane is that it's the first time he's been feeling that sense, obviously in very different ways, but like that light that he had from his mom.
That levity, that love, that...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just is for so many reasons. They do an amazing job of depicting that difference, that like I said, that bleakness, that darkness, coupled with like that lightness that was his mom.
Yeah. And I think that also, kind of to that point, Svetlana is playing a bit of a surrogate mother to him. And I found actually this scene very interesting when Alexei finally goes back to the dinner and whatever, and she is choosing this point to push him out of the nest a bit, because she says to him, he's like, I love you. And she's like, I love you too. I will always be here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're going to get that out of the way. But I know you don't love me like you love Jane. And I hope he knows how lucky he is.
Yeah.
And it was this like, if you on the surface, right, pretend you're just reading the script and you don't care, you're not invested. You're like, that would be a weird time to push this narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, in theory, he is at his most emotional, his most whatever. But in my deep dive, I brought up like these moments are actually the most pivotal where everything feels like it's up in flux and everything is changing. Those are the moments to make big shifts in a positive way where it's almost like she sees that, she understands what his dad meant from a restrictive standpoint to him and what that meant from his tie back to Russia, and obviously just firsthand having experienced the argument between him and Alexei.
Right.
And it's not like she's only in Russia, right? She also lives
Right.
in the US. So like he still has her. And she takes this moment to like,
Go find your.
let's stop this. Your barriers are gone. I need you to take this step.
Yep.
And I had not, until I like rewatched and for the deep dive, I had not truly appreciated how much actually I think that led him to call Shane.
Yeah.
And that her bringing it up again, her being like, I want you to be happy. I love you. I am here no matter what.
Yeah. I didn't think about that either.
I'm assuming at the very least played like a small role.
Yeah.
In,
that's a good point.
Even though I didn't say it. And not that the other part that I kept like fighting myself on is he doesn't have to come out to Svetlana, right? He's already known to be bi. She clearly knows that because she's like, here's Sasha, blah, 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 whatever. But it's like, no, you have to admit to yourself that you love this person.
Right.
And I'm going
to try to help you. It has nothing to do with
you.
sexuality.
Correct.
It's everything to do with
accepting
that love of, we wouldn't be having this conversation if it was a woman, I guess, necessarily.
I mean, I honestly could see her also having that conversation.
Sure, but I mean, like, it wouldn't be as pivotal of a point.
He wouldn't have had the barriers up that he does with Shane, X, Y, and Z. But it felt like, this was a sneaker catalyst that I just didn't. Again, you can just sit down and like watch a show.
Yeah.
And if you're just sitting like lazy river in the tube, like having a great time, which is not a bad way to enjoy a show.
Or like how we normally watch, which is just sitting on our phones. And
phones, and you're hearing basically whatever. Like actually taking the time to go through and like nitpick through things. I was like, holy shit.
To see what are conscious choices. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that I may be overreading, but like it feels very much like what is.
Well, it's certainly plausible, right? Yeah. At a minimum, it's a plausible theory. I think you're right. Yeah. But it fits 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that this segment, Ilya, I will say I had like a moment, again, me being like.
Defenses up.
The whole like him calling Shane back early on to be like, yeah, my dad passed away. And being like, oh, you look hot in your glasses. Take your clothes off.
Yeah, you didn't like that.
I was like, ugh! Like, please, you.
Because you never would have found a distraction to not talk about something real.
But it wouldn't be that.
Well, it wouldn't be that. But it also, you would have found anything else to talk about other than.
I don't know what he's talking about.
What you're actually feeling about what happened.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know that you do.
But, and someone pointed out, and I if I can find the comment, I will add it in here. And I think I said this early, that it was super important that Ilya called Shane back. And even if it was, and not that I think that was his intent, he just got swept up in the, Asian Clark Kent of it all. He still called him back.
Yeah.
And he still took the effort to be like, I want to talk to you. I'm going to tell you that, yes, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, like, I gave him a hall pass on that. I wasn't thrilled, but we got there. I could just be like a life coach for Ilya and be like, hey, no, stop that. Go love on your boy.
And then I'll be a love coach for both of you.
No.
Love coach,
no,
life coach.
Ew.
I'm a life coach for both of you because
he and I are both doing very well in life.
I just, it's funny to me. Well, I know because you have me and he has Shane.
No.
Excuse me.
That's not what I meant. But sure, yeah.
But you agree with that statement, right?
Great.
I won't understand.
Give me a break.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but like I think we're good,
Oh boy.
All right. So, oh Christ on a fucking cross. So
In the playoffs, and tonight they're
now we move on to injured. which, oh boy. This scene, these next two scenes, I did not appreciate.
Well, you're cheating because the reason why you hate this upcoming scene is because you know the intent that Ilya was coming with from the book.
Because some of you fools ruined it for me.
So
But even without
as
that,
a video,
yes,
that
as
we
the-
are only reacting
Yes.
to the show.
So I will say this was interesting for me because for those of you who don't know, I have an MD and I have done like brain injury, spinal cord injury research for a number of years. And I, especially in situations like this, cool, calm, collected, science-based, whatever, right? But if there was ever a moment where Jacob was going to fuck me, not
I know what you mean,
this,
but
like we're getting a happy ending and then all of a sudden now he's paralyzed from the neck down or brain dead and having to being taken off life support.
you can never put your guard down, can you?
I did not appreciate that.
Because you thought it was safe, and the next thing you know,
I'm like, until they're married, they have kids, and they're both 106 years old and dying, holding each other's hands together in bed. I'm not
That's the
gonna.
only way
I'm
you're
not
gonna
gonna
feel
trust
safe.
Jacob. Yeah, I can't. I won't.
what about Rachel?
I'm watching you too, bitch.
Jesus.
But I hope your Parkinson's get better soon. No,
I
it's
mean,
true.
well, 100%. Yeah.
No, this was so like visceral to me. Of their smiling, whatever, all of a sudden just smackaroony. And
This is just like a basic, like, fundamental rule. As someone who didn't even play hockey, a fundamental rule: you don't skate looking behind you.
of course, he's just gooning over the guy he loves.
Save it for off the ice. First of all, as someone who's competitive, it also strikes me at my core because, like,
Psychopath.
we're still playing a game. So, like, I can be in love with you after the game.
Una would love you.
Who would?
Shane's mom.
Oh, yeah. I didn't hear who you said. Yeah, her and I kind of vibe a little bit. Maybe not. Well, maybe to that level.
Well, what was the statement that your mom made?
She got a little excited from the stands in a high school basketball game.
Which was his kind of
Shut up. And
the Lumberjacks.
she thought I was open and I should take the shot, and I apparently didn't. And so she meant to yell, "Shoot, or I will shoot it myself." Instead, she yelled, "Shoot, or I'll shoot you myself." So yeah, that, again, not a violent household that I grew up in.
It's weird how you keep saying that.
I know, but
It's almost as if
right.
Child Protective Services or Adult Protective Services are
But
on
as
your
someone
case.
who knows and loves my mom as well, you know she would never do that.
Right. I have
The
heard her.
competitive part,
Ye-
I 1,000,000% get from her, though.
Yeah, I have heard her talk about the Vikings in a way that someone should lose a hand.
Well, if they drop a ball, she said, make a statement, cut off a hand, and they probably won't drop. Other players on the team won't drop the ball anymore.
They definitely will, because all they can do is nub it. But
Well, so anyway, this is where I get my competitiveness from. So this is where this is all coming from in my statement earlier in the video of, like, this is the most unrealistic scene for me because this is just a general no-no of, like, you don't skate and not look, like, looking behind you and you're skating ahead, because this is how people die.
for any of those of us that are not from Minnesota or Canada,
Right.
feel free to ignore.
Yeah. But secondly, I also, just from a competitive aspect, I'm like, cool, I love you, but, like, also I want to kick your ass. So, which is no different than how when we play pickleball together.
Why just win?
Not always.
No. But this was obviously they are both finally seemingly ready to figure it out, whatever.
Right.
Smiling, cheesing, whatever.
Yep.
And one thing that you actually criticized me about is that
I
if
would
and
never.
when I ever have cancer or get in a car wreck or whatever, I'm not calling you.
Right.
until like we're at a decision point because like it's not a big deal. Like I'll handle it. And so while I would not handle this well, you in Ilya's shoes would not handle this situation well.
The way he's getting told to back off right now, I would have thrown those refs off the ice.
Yeah. Swinging with the stick.
Yeah. Like, right. But also, typically anything medical, while I can handle it, I'm not the first person you need diving in.
No.
Yeah.
But I even said in my deep dive, like, if I was Ilya, and granted, this is now Ilya somehow has an MD, which doesn't quite make sense. You're not getting me off the ice either. Like,
And funny, I didn't even need an MD to say that. I'm not.
I'm coming in with, I want to know what's going on. Can we do a physical exam quick? Do we have feeling? Whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't coming in with all that. I'm just saying you're not pushing me off.
Right. But then one of the things that triggering is probably a little strong, but as they're bringing him to the hospital and we have him like super hopped up, funny juice. One of the things that
At that point, as he's in the...
Not until he's in the room does he have funny juice.
Oh, okay.
They wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's
what I thought.
They have to do a whole set of assessments.
Right.
Before
Yeah, okay.
But in that moment, even though I think they're early 20s at this point, he's not on funny juice. You know, he's like, tell Ilya he's going to worry, whatever. They couldn't hear what he was saying.
Yeah.
Just like Adobe Premiere Pro doesn't know what Ilya means. So they always cut it out when I say cut the pauses in my sentence, which is really annoying.
Maybe you're just saying it bad.
No.
Ilya.
But then cutting to his parents aren't there.
Right.
Yet. Or maybe they just weren't there at the time. And
wait, this is y'all start.
they're playing.
Oh,
that's
right,
where I
I'm
got
sorry.
confused.
Yeah,
They're playing
yeah.
against one another here.
Yep.
He is in a hospital bed alone, hopped up on a bunch of meds. And it was kind of this like moment where I remember thinking when I was getting my wisdom teeth out, your biggest fear is not them pulling your fucking wisdom teeth.
Yeah.
It's you accidentally coming out.
Yeah.
While under the funny juice.
Which is something that you would never think about I would assume, well, obviously, but like as a straight person, just something you don't ever think about.
No. That was literally my biggest concern. And I'm
just no different than actually like being blackout drunk too. Or like being drunk, right? Like
I feel like even then, yes. I feel like even then, though, there has to be some sort of like underlying intent that like you want to get this off your chest, whatever. Whereas I feel like when because I was pretty young when I got my wisdom teeth removed, that it was like, I don't have a boyfriend. I have no intent on coming out. I have no like, I'm not brushing the surface of about to come out. Like this was like, but what if? Yeah. I'm like, my favorite porn star is
whoever. Yeah.
You know, and then it made me kind of like giggle when you see him as Ilya finally comes back into the room. It's like, hey. It reminded me of you after your schnoz job, which was his sinuses, not his actual nose.
Yeah, I didn't get a nose job.
But like that, I mean, we've been married for multiple years at that point, right? Yeah. But even then, it was like this, like, oh, what's this? Yeah, that's the bandage. We don't touch it. Okay. 2 minutes later, what's this? Yeah. And you're just like, you get to see this like
infantile version.
Yeah.
Of someone you love, actually, or whatever, right? Like whoever that person is, I guess. But yeah, this infantile version of like that has zero inhibition.
Zero.
So
lots of questions, but
correct.
Zero inhibition. And it was just like, yeah, Shane Huddy played that perfectly. And I think I saw a quote that Jacob and the crew actually were like crying during that scene.
Like crying?
Yeah. Because it was like seeing that character for the first time openly, like without inhibition, like show his love or find solace and safety in Ilya's hand and whatever.
Yeah.
And clearly Ilya walks in. Again, back to the point of him being unable to not crumble when he sees Shane needing help or whatever. You know, he's standing at the hospital door like, are you okay? Marlo is sorry.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, robot. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he just kind of like folds, which is whatever. And all you spoilers in the comments now ruined what I thought was going on there. But
Yeah. But we're not going to be angry about that because we're not reacting to the book and the inner dialogue that went on.
The show.
So this is not... I was watching an interview and Jacob and Hudson and Connor were talking about how they had shot, how they just kind of like jumped in. And so this is just kind of it made me think of it when you're talking about them crying at that scene.
Yeah.
Because for us,
we have the build
5 episodes,
Yeah.
4.5 episodes of character development and seeing the ebbs and flows and everything that you've talked about, we've talked about, that has transpired so far. But they shot everything out of order.
Yeah. I think the All-Star game was their first. I think that was their first shoot day at the pool. The bar.
Yeah,
the pool.
I think you're right. Yes. Yeah, that sounds right. So it would be interesting to be in their perspective, to be in their shoes, to see this evolve in a way of like the way that it's being shot.
Yeah.
You actually have no idea like what it's ultimately going to look like. I mean, you have an idea, but like how like the magic of what it actually is.
For sure. And from like Jacob's perspective, right? He read the books, I believe, without necessarily the intent of turning it into a TV show or whatever.
Yeah.
He reached out to Rachel.
Yeah.
They got it done. He then wrote the episodes.
Yeah.
He then went through the casting process to find Hudson, to find Connor, to find whatever. And even then, I mean, they talk about it on a number of interviews that like Hudson and Connor immediately had the right chemistry. I believe Hudson had already kind of like secured the role. So it was figuring out who Ilya was going to be. And the second he got off the call with Connor, he's like, no questions asked. This is going to work. Fine.
Yeah.
But from Jacob's perspective, right? You've read this world, you've fallen in love with it, you've then invested the time to write the series, to cast the series, and you are so deep in it, then to see the first like real heartstrings fruit of your labor come through these kids who you've rightfully chosen to represent these characters. Like I feel like almost like Connor and Hudson would be the last people in that room to like react that way, but all of the other people who have thought about this for so long, it's such a cool, it's just like a pat on the back that you chose the right people.
Yeah.
And you get your first like real proof point that holy shit, we made the right choice, and holy shit, these people are so ungodly talented.
Yep.
And even in the moments, and someone actually replied to something on my last video of like, do you think that Jacob before the scene was like, hey, Hudson, okay, so as you're talking to Rose, I'm going to need you to like micro express this way and that way and blah, 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 blah. Or do you think that he was like, this is the feeling that Shane has throughout this thing, go represent that? All the interviews I've seen tells me it's probably the latter. And that
that's what I was
Hudson
trying to think
just
of.
like...
Yeah. Like from the little bit that I've seen, like Jacob had full autonomy, right? Like he obviously was consulting with Rachel and others that are there to work. He had full autonomy, but it sounded like he made pretty quick, pretty direct, pretty not impulsive, but it was clear the direction he was going with it. But then he kind of it was like a laissez-faire, like hands-off approach to how the characters actually executed that. Yeah. Was my understanding, if I'm remembering correctly, which is, to your point, speaks to the what Jacob created from a studio perspective and the culture that he created. And I'm so out of my league. I've never been in that world, but like I would imagine you need a certain environment to foster that kind of, I think, probably respect and trust in each other, and to allow people to do things their own way.
Yeah, I think there's a world in which both environments exist in a positive way, right? Where there is a director with a hyper specific viewpoint
Who
that
you
they
would
are
be.
trying, probably.
Yeah, that would be you.
Yeah, that they are trying to portray. And so they are giving very specific instructions, and there are actors and actresses that would respond positively to that they want that they want that maybe because of how they act, or even just in light of that person being the director.
Yeah.
They want to simply be the vessel for that
Yeah.
person.
I think Francois talks about being the vessel of in different things that he's been. But yeah, go on.
But it's more of like, my interpretation here is that if you set a very strong foundation for these people, these actors, and you let them kind of run with it,
Right.
you actually extend your creativity in that I'm not dictating that, okay, you do this, and then you turn and kiss him, and then this happens,
Right.
and then you leave. And it's
Well, we see that in the unscripted kiss, right?
the stairwell kiss.
Yeah.
Imagine this fucking this season without that kiss.
No, it's my favorite scene.
Burn it down. I'm at Crave with gasoline.
Well, you wouldn't have known it was missing.
I would have known something was missing. But I mean, that's and I think that this is also a lightning bolt moment where you have two fairly undiscovered but incredibly talented actors who also have perfect chemistry. Like, you can't do this with A plus B, right?
No,
You bring in Rando 1, Rando 2. This is the lightning strike of the perfect storm.
Right, because I think if you would have cast one or the other, but not both, there's a missing chemistry there that they intuitively have together,
Totally.
naturally have, that brings additional, not to say it wouldn't have been really good, it brings a natural
It may
magic
have,
and mystique to it.
if there was, swap one of them out, right? And they
Right.
physically fit together. The other person was a great actor. You actually do have to do so much more of that chemistry building through prescriptive direction,
Right.
instead of, we're going to put these boys in a stairwell
Right.
and let them
Yep.
feel their way through.
As we were talking about this, I was just thinking about different actors and actresses and prescribing them how to act versus not. Meryl Streep, who I love, and I just was thinking, I don't think you're telling her how to do
And if you are, she probably isn't listening.
correct. Which, can't wait for Devil Wears Prada 2. But anyway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, regardless, long run on. We get here. Our boy is worried. Our other boy is just a goofy goober, high on the sauce.
One of my favorite places, hospital.
Yep, lots of fun. But
Nothing but good memories.
we get almost then like another, and this is where I guess maybe more of the Shane in me comes out, in that he had a plan to ask Ilya to come to my cottage this summer, and he was just bummed that he didn't get the opportunity to do so. And Ilya's kind of like, hey, no, and just looks at him and is like, maybe, okay, giving us the answer that no.
Yeah.
The answer is no. He's trying to like appease Shane in that moment, and it takes what we'll see later this episode to change that. But yeah, this was like seeing him again. We're adding into this like levels of inhibition that we're taking off at each level. And the reality of Shane May, as any human being walking around on this earth, something could happen and take you away from the people that love you, was like moment for Ilya. I mean, just like you were watching kids die on Reddit when you were on the treadmill today.
Well, I wasn't watching kids die. To be clear, I was on what I thought was an innocent Ask Reddit post about like, what are some things that people would be shocked to hear behind the scenes of like what goes on at
Your job.
workplaces. So I assumed it was going to be like a hotel, like a
Nasty
restaurant,
stuff,
whatever. We immediately got into like pathology and radiology results and found out that like kid comes, whatever. There's a lot of kids that have cancer, apparently. Like, I know, but like, and so I was reading this after my run today, and I came up here and I was just distraught and so ready to save the world and how we're going to like fix this. And Mr. MD over here was like, well, these are the reasons why it's not going to work. And I was like, well, I don't care. We need to like figure it out. They also had that approach in 1500 with TB and the Black Plague. But you know what? Now we're here. So let's figure it out.
I'm a huge fan for progressing pediatric oncology and other research. That's literally my whole job. But
I know.
I also live in
a
world of reality of like the complexity of these things, and that we can't just go and scan everybody for everything because.
Well, I think we should. Anyway, so that was, I was not watching kids die. I was what I thought was an innocent post that took me down a
rabbit
deep
hole
of sadness. So anyway, really quick about this scene. It reminds me of the Instagram post of that nurse who is.
I posted it in my deep dive.
Okay, perfect.
The nurse.
I think I showed that to you, right? I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, I'll put it in the bio. But her listening to quote unquote Shane talk to her high on the juice after he leaves.
How
much he loves Ilya and it's not physically capable for him to get pregnant.
Come to my cottage this summer. Don't go to Russia. Come to my house. We'll have so much fun. It's so private. No one will know.
Wonder you know I can't.
We could have a week or even two. Completely alone.
Maybe.
Will you come to my cottage this summer?
I love that.
I mean, it's the ultimate
It just warms my heart.
brain rot earworm.
I love it.
And look at him.
He's so happy.
It's a goofy little.
Yeah. Anyway.
Also, this isn't the 1800s, so I don't know why his sling is made out of a torn up flag.
Okay.
But
This is not an MD podcast.
I'm just saying.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You're not gonna smother the pillow, are you, Mr. Rosenau?
No. But good thinking.
Good
But
thing.
no, I was just leaving.
Bye.
Get well soon, Holland.
Look at him having the wherewithal.
Shh, shh. those two little shh
Yeah.
are my favorite. We're back in good old Canada, and
I can't wait to get to the loons next episode.
our boy's in a real sling, thank the Lord. And he's talking to Rose as if they're still, admitting that his parents still think that they're dating, which they're not.
Spoiler.
They're not. And then the witch, Una,
Yeah.
is
The
like,
witch.
that's what they call her.
Oh, I thought. Okay, yeah, you're right. They do. I was like, why do we have to hate on Una?
She's like, I think he's playing with hurt ribs.
Yeah.
And it's Scott's year, and they're both, Shane and his dad are like, what
What are you
tarot
smoking?
card? Yeah, what insanity is this? Both of which
That's called foreshadowing, folks.
I'm gonna have her pick out my lotto numbers.
Can't come soon enough.
Please, we just want to like quit our jobs and go move to Paris. That's all that we. I'll even keep doing this,
Yeah.
but yeah. So
I'm gonna learn French. It'll be great.
I had to teach him how to say Louis Vuitton.
I knew.
He
I just-
absolutely did
He
not.
needed to feel like he was giving me something, so I just was like, I'll give you this. Louis Vuitton.
And this is after years of practice, and it's still that.
Rude.
All right, so we're moving on
Yves Saint
from
Laurent.
no, we're moving on from injured to sunshine.
Sunshine. Everyone deserves sunshine.
Trust me, Elena knows. I know, and that is
This
the
conversation.
I know
What do you think?
the profound demonstration of love on the ice.
Yeah. That if this show wasn't already skyrocketing to meteoric rise, this is the scene that did it.
100%. And something that in rewatching was interesting is in the recap, they're showing all the back history of Ilya and Shane, right? To like get us to, hey, here's what you're about to see. And there is 15 seconds where it's Kip in the booth with Elena saying, I don't love him. And she's like,
Right.
cute.
I love Elena so
Yes.
much.
And then Scott in the town car waiting to go pick Kip
Kip up.
up. in the alley. And I'm like, you dirty bastards. Because why insert that in the intro if it's not to lead to this moment?
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, okay. I see you now because I didn't see it then.
Yeah.
But Scott, clearly so excited as you would be, elated, celebrating, and then it was like so deafeningly loud. All of the family members coming onto the ice. And he has...
Well, and it's instant, right? Like it's from I'm so happy to immediate flip.
To I have nobody here. And the fact that he looks up to the crowd to a particular space, I was like, did the ticket people tell you that Kip was here, or are those your seats?
Yeah.
Either way, it's Kip, Elena, and one of the ultimate MVPs, Kip's dad.
Does not get enough credit.
I mean, 50 million out of 10.
Yeah.
And he's looking. And it's just one of those moments that I think he could not pass up. He could not take this moment to be happy with Kip. And everyone's left in suspense, including our boys. Svet's even got to get up to kind of check out what's going on here. Oh, yeah. And then this song is one that Jacob chose. And it's one of the main lines is Sunshine.
Yep.
So just fucking stab me through the chest.
She was going to haul him down there herself. We all need an Elena in our lives.
Truth.
Kip is so cute. He is. We are not a violent house, remember? He is. He's so cute.
Focus on something else.
He just looks so short, not on skates.
I love you so fucking much.
Wow. Also, you stink. Oh, no. Good for him. Good for Scott.
What the? I'm coming to the cottage.
All right.
Previously,
No.
Does Shane remember that he asked
The what?
him to come to the cottage?
I'm sure he does.
That's actually it.
Maybe, maybe not.
I'm as unanswered questions that we were talking about before. The stuff that you told me that I was saying and doing post-op,
Yeah.
I don't remember. So I'm not trying to call anything out here. It just
Right.
it occurred to me all of a sudden is like,
Yeah.
does he actually remember asking him to the cottage?
I feel like this is more of like when we were back home and you were taking pain meds type of situation, not like you immediately post-op because he didn't have surgery.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, incredibly beautiful moment. The fact that we get this like sound dampening, it's just them talking.
Mhm.
And when it opens back up, it's to cheering, it's to the announcers being like, good for him.
Yeah, as someone who I was just thinking, like I normally, like every time I've watched this, I've been emotional watching it. I think this is just who I am right now today, that I'm not like emoting. Like
It's also I can tell you, when you break it up and you're watching it just like little bit by little bit, it's a very different response. But yeah, I mean, if you want to see emotion, feel free to watch my rewatch video where I pretty much sobbed through this part of it. Surprise. But
so clearly I don't watch a lot of his videos.
hater.
So let me just kind of clue y'all into something. I am one of literally one hand full of people that have ever.
Yeah, and you might need to blow off a couple of fingers.
Right. That was me being generous.
Yep.
So.
Well, now you need more fingers because the internet.
Well, it's so funny to me that I'm like one of three people.
Yeah.
And here we are with thousands of people. So I'm proud of you.
Or as Shane
Look at
says,
you.
eh?
It has made me emotional every time I've watched it. It's incredible. It's an incredible way to wrap up the their kind of story.
And propel
Right. And to,
Shane and
to
Ilya's
set us up
forward.
into the final episode. And as we were kind of talking about earlier, is like to see happiness to see sunshine, I guess, right? But in a storyline that has never really is not typically shown through to that level of like.
Yeah, it's again back to like it's idyllic but not unrealistic. Right? In that I think a majority of there are many people that would love to see that happen or would have no negative reaction to that happening. And in it being done in this way that is not, even though you could consider it over the top, it wasn't. It was like spur of the moment, call them down, kiss them on the ice, whatever. And I don't even want to like give an example, but if you were to be like super over the top with it, right? Fireworks and this is my announcement that I'm gay and I love this guy and whatever, which to each their own. I am an over the top person.
You sure are.
This being this like visceral, I just can't not do it in this moment. Calling you down.
He felt like he didn't have a choice to not do that.
And a choice to himself, not to anybody else.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what makes it not over the top. Because if it wasn't that, declaring your love after winning
the Stanley Cup or whatever the
equivalent, whatever they call it in the ML8 it is
over the top, but I guess
but but to your point, it's not because it's
organic.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't, as we'll see in episode 6, Yuna's ready to get all the sponsors with the pride flags ready to go, right? We didn't cut to a gay Gatorade commercial.
Right.
Or he like ripped off one of his badges and it was like a rainbow flag with Gatorade, right? Like it was an organic moment that he felt and he made the choice to do. And again, as I brought up, Ilya was packing to go back to Russia. He had mentioned to Svetlana in that like...
Which I didn't catch
right
away.
Only if you... Again, I had the subtitles on of like he had mentioned something about this is for my niece.
Or she said, make sure to... Or
something like that.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah,
and you're like, oh, so you're going back to Russia, even though you don't have to. And this clearly was like the last push.
Or is I would have to rewatch it. Is it possible she's just going back and he's packing something for the niece in her baggage?
I don't think so. I
don't remember that scene well enough.
I think it is. I guess no one has corrected me on the deep dive that was the interpretation that he was going back. And
not to say.
And even if he wasn't, he clearly had not made any intentions to go to the cottage.
Right? Until that.
And he's going. And then we'll get episode 6, which is like...
I just can't wait till he picks him up in that SUV.
What is this? The back half of this season, I am Ilya.
Yeah. Well, I'm... Yeah. Yeah, actually, as we get to the cottage itself, I am Shane.
Yes.
This is my wheelhouse. This is where I grew up.
Oh my God.
Have you touched on that?
No, because I haven't filmed episode 6 yet.
No, this is my Thunderdome. This is my Stanley Cup coming up. The cottage itself and Northern. You're
just saying that with like such bravado that I'm not quite sure like what exactly you're leaning into.
The North Woods.
Oh, okay.
And everything that it entails. Me telling you about the loons. So I can't wait to dive into that because... Oh.
Redact.
Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I just meant the outside. The North Woods, the lake, the cottage, the woods, the wildlife, swimming in the water, cooking hot dogs and hamburgers. Yeah, not hot dogs.
Yeah, and there's other things too, but we actually have to go to a 40th birthday party in 56 minutes. So
we sure do.
We are going to wrap this up. But did we debate? I feel like there were a couple things we went toe-to-toe on ish.
Yeah.
It's harder to find to find things to fight about as you get later into the season. Like episode 1 and episode 2, we probably would have
I think I just made some astute observations about you.
We'll see about.
Yeah. This has been fun.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up,
Yeah.
subscribe, share with your friends, and look forward to episode 6, the rewatch, the deep dive, and then another debate. I don't know what the hell we're going to have to debate about episode 6.
It's not. I mean, I think we should have done debates. Looking at this holistically, and in hindsight, we should have done debates 1 through 4. We only did 4. I think 5 and 6 is really just more of like sharing our experiences and observations as like we see them.
Yeah.
And relatable, not relatable, whatever. Like there's no real like arguments to be made here.
No, at this point, we're both Team Shane, whereas like I was fully Team Shane. Yeah, episodes 1 through 4. But
yeah,
hope you guys enjoyed it, and yeah, bye.